Hello everyone, Wicked Modeler 3D here. Today we're going to be doing part 2 for the Halo modeling tutorial. So I left you off with rebuilding the other base for the opposing side, so pretty much the same process. If you need a recap of the first part of the tutorial, I recommend that you watch it for reference. So I'll have a card on the top right that will have the link to the first part of the videos. So then that way you have a refresher on how these buildings are created, or these structures that are created within Blender and cut successfully into our level. So anyway, I left you off with pretty much how to put this stuff into or applying the materials and stuff in UV unwrapping. So for this tutorial, we're going to show you how to importing this level, and as well as adding portals and collision geometry, meaning various out of bounds collision. So like right here, we would put like an invisible collision to this, stuff like that, and also for our teleporters. So basically I already have exact portals done here. So basically, in order to apply these, what you would do is you would go to edit mode into your level object, and then you go in here and click the faces. Then once you've done that, you hit P on your keyboard on the faces that you selected, and you separate it from the level mesh and make it to a separate one in exact portals. And then what you do is you create this material right here plus exact portal. And so I wouldn't go mess around with material properties for this one. So pretty much these are like separate portal uses. So basically exact portals used for doors and such, pretty much like a line segment, if you will, when it comes to occluding geometry. So enough with that. I'm going to teach you on how to make tutorial portals. So to make tutorial portals, what you need to do is you need to make a plane. So what we're going to do is do Shift A. We're going to do a plane. We're going to do 50 for a radius or whatever. We're just going to size it like that. We're going to make it overlapped like this, kind of center it a little bit. And you also want it to you don't want it to not touch the ground. Like, you want it to touch the ground, because in Halo it will recognize that this has a ground edge to it, and it won't have any problems with that. So yeah, so here I'm gonna turn on backface culling so we can see what we're doing here. So what I typically do is I go to edit mode with this plane, and then we're going to put, oh gosh, let's just do 4 loop cuts. So we're going to do 4 loop cuts, and we're going to make some overlapping planes over here. So I go to orthographic top, orthographic, and I extrude these edges like that, kind of like this, so you can easily put it together. And then we're also going to do the same thing by extruding these edges again. Make sure that they clear the bases to these. So what you can do is here, I don't know if this will work. Individual origins. Nope, I guess not. Huh. Well, I'm trying to find ways to cut time, because I forgot how that trick works, where you can have all the faces connected. But anyway, so if you can't really see them very well, you can easily, turn off backface culling and then go back and forth. So basically, I just pretty much snap pretty much in the right direction when it comes to this stuff. And then we're going to turn on backface culling again. Pretty much I like go back and forth. So we're going to select these edges here, and we're going to roughly put it in the middle like that. And we're going to extrude on the x-axis and then snap it to that edge. You really want to have some overlapping edges like this. So you want to constantly do this in a very good direction. So we're gonna pretty much put like portals through here. I mean, probably it doesn't need to be tight as what I'm doing, but this is pretty much how portals are applied in levels, including all the other Halos in the Master Chief Collection, including Halo 2 and Halo 3, which I have limited knowledge or experience on that. I will at some point will show you tutorials on how to make a level from scratch, how to make BSPs or levels from scratch for Halo Reach or Halo 2 or 3. Pretty much there's documentation that shows you how to do it, but for this we're just going to do CE for now. That's why I picked CE, so people can have a fundamental understanding on how these work. It's quite complicated on how CE works, and same thing goes for Halo 2, all these other Halo games that we had experience with. So your portals should look something like this. So you pretty much are making like a whole grid and trying to make make this kind of like segmented, because these are used for occlusion culling and also for sound environment. So that's pretty much a portal. So since this is called plane, we're going to change it to portal, of course, and we're going to add a material. We're going to do plus portal, and then we're going to assign it, put it in whatever color you want, doesn't really matter. So what else am I gonna, oh yeah, that's right. So okay, so we got our portal. Now we're going to tie it to the frame. So we're going to click our portal first, and then we're going to do frame, and we're going to do object. So basically you want to select the frame for the last object to parent to, and you can see that is underneath our frame hierarchy. So we got that, so we're going to temporarily hide that for now. Now I'm going to show you how to make the collision geometry for this. So we're going to go ahead and make our collision geometry. So in order to do that, we're going to select all around here, and we're going to extrude on the z-axis, make sure there's no proportional editing. So SC0, we're going to snap on the z-axis. And then what we're going to do is we are going to make a new face on these right here. Don't worry if the normals look like that when you like make new faces. That's typically normal, so I wouldn't worry too much on that. So for that we could just do this, but I highly suggest you go against that because sometimes it doesn't do it right. So we're going to just go ahead and do it this way. And we're also going to fill the bottom. Actually, before we do that, we're going to select the faces that we bridged here. And oh yeah, and another thing to consider would be to turn on face orientation. So if you see red parts right here, you want to make sure that these are flipped. So you can manually click on these to do it this way, or you can do recalculate inside or outside. I typically would just do it manual in this case. So we're going to just, well, I have quick favorites. Typically I go to mesh and then normals and then flip. So that's how I do it. So we're going to also fill the gap in the middle, so that we're going to tap F to make a new face. That's pretty much how you do that. And now we're going to go ahead and make sure, okay, so we got our exact portals. So for the same thing goes for the exact portals like I mentioned earlier. So you basically make new faces in here. I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't give people, you know, sickness. So in here we pretty much put faces here. So I'm going to just turn this off for reference. So typically you would select all around, and then you tap F, and then once you've done that to all these, you do P and then parent, which will separate it, and then you can easily tie it with the frame separately. So then that way the Halo knows that you have portals in there. So that's what you're going to do for your exact portals and stuff. That's how it works. So yeah, that's pretty much how you make pretty much the modeling proportion on how these work. So I'm going to go ahead and import this into CE. So what we're going to do is you're going to make sure these are all visible. Anything that's not tied with the frame, you don't need to worry about. So we're going to just ignore those. So we're going to go ahead and export as a JMS. And we're going to go to our data folder. So we're going to go data levels test, test level models, and then whatever your JMS is in your folder is named for your level. So the one thing I would suggest is to turn off edge split. I'll explain later why you would do that, but for now, just disable it. I mean, you can have it on if you want, but I typically would go against that. So we're going to export it, and it should say export completed successfully. So now we're going to fire up a Soyos, and then we're going to just do import only. We're going to go to test level models, JMS, and we're going to import it and see what tool has for us. Oh yeah, that I forgot. I forgot to do that. So I forgot to explain that with these things I created, I forgot to put in the material that goes with it. So the material that you're going to be using for this kind of thing is going to be called example tutorial player clip. So exactly like that. So we're going to just do a cube projection. So I know that we use the text. So basically this texture, this is like a checkerboard texture that is within the data folder. So that's pretty much just a placeholder thing, because in the game you're not going to see anything. So that's just there for show, really, pretty much. So for this, once you make that that material, so you're gonna scroll, click on that material, and then you're gonna go to Halo material properties. Make sure for the flags that this is a large collidable. It's very important that you do that, because it treats it like a large piece of collision geometry that is used for you know, basically projectiles that travel through it and vehicles, except for, you know, bipeds and, you know, pretty much anything that's a character within the game can't pass it. So yeah, that's pretty much how it works. You technically need to put this on the teleporters, but I'm not going to really stress it, but something like this would work. So that's pretty much how they're established. So okay, so we corrected that. So we're going to quickly export as a JMS again. We're going to go in here and then do the same thing. And we just import it because we're going to put the correct file in it. And it should. And there we go. So now we got most of everything imported correctly. So it should say all these statistical things here. So let's say 53 portals, 32 clusters, and whatever else, and it will say, you know, finished structure, that whole thing. So basically, you know that your level's imported. So now what we're gonna do is go to Guerilla. We're gonna go ahead and open our test level here. So we need to go to levels, test, in our tags, and we need to look for test level dot scenario. And I kind of went ahead and did this, but for reference, you want to make sure you have a sky. You click on this add button. You pretty much go into here, look for a sky tag, and typically I do clear afternoon. That's my recommendation. You can do any sky you want. So we're going to scroll all the way down until we see starting equipment. we would put that to all games. And then for the item collections, we put in whatever weapon we wanted. So pretty much these are like, so item collections basically function as weapon collectibles. So hence the name item collection. You can add more, but MCC is kind of weird with not allowing you having more than 2 guns. I'm not sure why. There is a way to doing it, unless somebody in the comments correct me. But in Custom Edition, you can easily put in more weapons. But MCC works differently, so there is a workaround in order to get more guns at your arsenal. So typically 2 is good in this case. So once you're done with that, you can save it. So File and then Save, or Control S for short. Close out of Guerilla, and then we're gonna light the level again. So we're gonna light the level, and then if you want, you can put it on draft settings. I typically put it on final. Depending on the power of your computer, it's not going to take all that much. If it's like very, very small, it's not going to really take a whole lot. So I typically put it on max threshold for fancier lighting. So I'm going to go ahead and import it. And once it reaches 0, then you're good to go. So it's going to take a little bit. So it's going to take a moment. So you got done with that. We're going to go ahead and launch Sapien here. So we're going to do test level.scenario. And it's going to take a moment for it to load. Oh, that was really quick. And as we can see here, I already placed vehicles on here. So I'll teach you on how to do that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and show you how to place stuff. So in order to place tags, most of them you would do edit types, and you add these tags. Sometimes it goes in my other directories, I don't know why. So we go to tags, vehicles, and then Banshee. If we wanted the Banshee, for instance, now be sure that you click on the multiplayer vehicle one, because the other one's used for solo missions, basically campaign missions. So just do Banshee multiplayer.vehicle. So add that tag, click done. And then what you do is you go over your properties palette while you have that folder selected, and do Banshee underscore MP. And then you can place it by right clicking, and then holding left click, you can rotate the gizmo to your desired selection. So you can fly around or whatever else. And then for the Banshee, you want to make sure in the properties palette that these are Slayer default and all these are checked. And you do Control S to save that. And another thing I want to show you guys is to put sound scenery. So I know some people are may be asking, why do I not hear anything? That's because we don't have sound environments or anything of the such imported or put into this scenario tag. So in order to do this, we need to make a scenario tag that, or not a scenario tag. We need to make, we need to put all the sound tags that we're going to use and put them into the scenario tag, which is this right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do sound scenery. I mean, I have these kind of placed everywhere, so I'm going to go ahead and place these down. So I already have these placed, so pretty much you would go into your tags here. Here, I'm going to do this real quick. So I'm going to place these, because I already had these placed anyway. I'll show you how to do these. I wouldn't worry too much about it. So doesn't matter how you place it, as long as it's close to the intended area, that's what matters. So in order to find these tags, they're typically in, I know the shield one is in the thing here. So we do sound, SFX, and then UI, and that's how you find that. Now for the multiplayer, so we do multiplayer, that's the stream one that's used for the streams back here. So I already have those tags, so there's no point of adding them again. So that's pretty much how you place that. Another thing I recommend is adding sound environments. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into our cluster properties, palettes, and then we're going to do sound environment. We're going to then go to our properties palette. We can type in tutorial, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to look for a sound environment tag. So it keeps looking in Halo 1. That drives me nuts. Or in Halo 2. So we're going to go to sound, SFX, ambience. Is it in multiplayer? No. I think it's emitters or exteriors. I don't remember. So exteriors, loops, no. I think it's right. Yeah, sound environments. There we go. So for here, we're just do forest. We could do forest, and then we're going to click on new instance. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. So that way, it saves that palette. And then we're going to do the same, we're going to do a similar thing with the background sound. So we're going to go ahead and put in, oh, I already have one set, but you go into SFX, ambience, multiplayer, and you could pretty much select whatever you want. Full crumble is good, but I rather do Blood Gulch for this case, because Blood Gulch has a very good like little reverb. So background sound is pretty much the reverb, and what it's very complicated stuff. So sound environment, so we want to make it sound like a forest. That's what Timberland I think uses. We don't need to worry about fog or weather palette just yet. That's a separate thing. So the only thing, the reason why you would add a weather palette is for flags and stuff that react to the air. I pretty much put it in the same values as Blood Gulch, but I'm not going to really cover it because we're not going to really go into much about it. But however, I will show you on how these game types work. So in order to make game types for specific things, pretty much most of these are flags. Slayer doesn't really need flags, whereas CTF and King of the Hill do need flags. So we're going to go ahead and go to game data, net game flags, and so this is similar to how we set up the portals. So the portals, I will show how they work. So the teleporters pretty much work like here. So this is your starting point of where you're going to teleport, or the source of where you're going to teleport, and then it teleports over here. So as long as they're the same usage ID that I have it, it'll spawn in that gizmo. So you start from here and you enter there, and it'll take you all the way over here. So that's pretty much how that works. And as long as they're both at the usage ID at 0, you should be good. Now, when you try to get back in here, it won't teleport you back. That's because we don't have a separate one. So in order to make one, we're going to do teleport from again, put the usage ID to 1, and then we're going to hold right click. And then when you hold it, it'll not only place it down, it'll also move it. And we're going to also put teleport 2, and then go all the way over here, and put the gizmo right here, and then Control S to save it. And we're also going to put King of the Hill spawns here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do, where is it, Hill flag. So basically, if you read these brief descriptions, they would tell you what they do. So it says here, set hill index usage ID to designate this flag as part of that hill, and then up to 64 total can be used for a map. You know, a hill can consist of 12 flags, you know, in the whole 9 yards. Basically, this explains how they work. So basically, if we want to make a neutral flag for both sides of the team, we're going to go ahead and make one. So this is going to be at 0 for the usage ID. And for instance, we could just make like a big circle like this. We don't want to put too much, but something like this would work. So something like this would work. I'm going to kind of make it a little straight for this purpose. Yeah, so that's pretty much how they work. For instance, if we're going to put ones for specific spawns, we would put one up here and such. And then we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to change it to 2 and then put it to the opposite side. Sometimes the flag won't work depending on if the flag is too close. So if it's too close, it will automatically not have the flag spawn at all in some instances, or the player can't spawn too close to the flag. I forgot how that works, but yeah. So we got our hill going on here, and we got the hill set up. Now we need to add the capture the flag one. So we're gonna do one for the capture the flag. So we're gonna add our scenery object here, and we're gonna add what's called a multiplayer like used scenery pieces of scenery. So if we go to the capture the flag one, so if we look for that in the tags, it should be in here. Flag base scenery, add tags. I know it's in there. Go to our properties palette, flag base. We want to put it right here on the top by right clicking, and we've done that. So now we're going to go ahead and put our flag to it. So basically the flags spawn within flags. So where is, oh well, I'm dumb, so it was right there. Okay, so now we're going to do is we're going to do CTF flag, and so we're going to look at the usage. So I think 0 is red and then 1 is blue, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how they work. So place 1 flag. So basically 0 I think would be red, I think, and then the other is blue. So 0 is red and then 1's blue, I'm pretty sure. So we're going to do 1 for blue. That should work. Control S to save it. And that's pretty much how the flags work, pretty much for what we're going to be using this for. These are pretty much how they're used. So that's how the flags work. So now, if you want to put weapons on your map, you can. So for instance, I already put the tags together. So what you can do is, for the assault rifle, we can put like an assault rifle right here. Takes 30 seconds to spawn. I think team index kind of doesn't matter at this point. It really doesn't matter on how you place them. It's solely up to you. So we're gonna put, for instance, a shotgun inside of the bases here. So we can do the same thing here. So we can put that there. What is another thing I can do? Oh yeah, we can put a rocket launcher in the middle. Oh yeah, we also need to put trees and stuff. I keep forgetting about that. We need to put trees down. So we're gonna go ahead and go back, and then we can add like the tags that go in with the trees and stuff like that, which I already have in here. So we're gonna put like pine trees and stuff, kind of like block the player's sight. So pretty much you can place them however you want throughout this space here. You can pretty much adjust them however you want through here. It's really interesting on how these are made, because Not a lot of games really do this nowadays. It's like very... I don't want to get into it, but it's very different. But anyway, we got that. Maybe we can use a different type of tree. Oh yeah, you can also add these little beacons that are in the tags. So these are blue, so we can put these beacons right here. We can also put blue beacons right here. So we got that. What else? What else do we have? Yeah, typically I click down here so it doesn't overwrite one of the ones by accident. So we can do tree leafy. Maybe we can like put like trees right here. Oh geez, that's quite tall. I did not expect that to be. So we're gonna just put that in the middle. It's really cool on how these work because not a lot of there's not a lot of stuff that is out here on how these are done. So you can put like pine trees, big trees over here to like kind of block the view. It's just really cool on how they're set up. Like it's kind of neat how they're placed. You kind of decorate the piece or places with scenery objects and stuff. And I'm pretty sure we're done from that point on. One thing before we get into the tag test here. Make sure that you have a spawn point. You can put any spawn points as much as you want. So we're going to put all games. This is going to be the team index, I think. So 0, I think, is red, and then 1 is blue, if I'm not mistaken. And then you can put them in whatever type. I put them all games because, you know, it is what it is. So yeah, those are pretty much how the spawns work and stuff. I'm going to put this to 1 for the team index. We're going to also do the same thing here. And then Control S, save that. I'm going to do the same thing by doing that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to load this into tag test, which is the tag test build of the game. So we're going to go ahead and go to Miscellaneous. Typically you hit run game, but for me I'm going to do a different one. So basically I have 2 because I have one for windowed, of course, which I'll link in the description if you want to put your tag test in windowed mode. Solely up to you, but typically if you run it by itself, it'll pretty much run it full screen like borderless. But in this case I'm not really too worried about it. I'm going to adjust this so people can see it. But typically it's kind of wonky in how it's done, so I'm going to go ahead and adjust it. Alright, so once you open it, it'll greet you with the menu we're all familiar with. Now what I typically do is I click on credits, and then I do the commands so that way it doesn't, you know, accidentally launch into something. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in map name levels test level. Well, test level is pretty much your name of the level. And then what we're going to do, we're not quite done yet. We see a big tree in our distance, in our view. So we're going to go ahead and type in game _ variant. You can hit tab to autocomplete it. Slayer, and then map reset. Okay. So this is tag test. So we can see that we have loaded successfully into our level here. So you can use a controller with this, which I'm going to use right now. So now if your base appears too small, no big deal. You could just adjust it in Blender and then re-import it, and you're good to go from that point on. So we got our ladders to work. So you can easily climb these. These all work. We can go in the teleporter. This works. That's pretty much how that works. Oh, hold on a second. I gotta put on the audio here. I forgot to do that for this demonstration. So we're going to put OK. Alright, so now you should be able to hear stuff. Well, why is it not working? Hold on. I'm trying to figure out why this is not wanting to work. Yeah, it's sometimes it tends to do that. I don't know why, but it does. Okay. Oh, well, I guess not. Okay. Well, I guess there's going to be no audio in this video. Oh, well, here, I'm going to see if I can fix that. That bothers me. That's going to really suck. Okay, so I'm not seeing anything. Okay, so I'm having technical difficulties. I guess I can't put audio through here. Alright, well, but once you've done those sounds at your end, you're going to realize pretty much the audio stuff and what may have it. So it will all work on your end. I don't know why my recording software does not record that sound. I think it's something that has to do with OBS. So we can see all these vehicles got placed. We got our weapon spawns and stuff are spawned onto the map. Another thing too is you can also type. You could also change the game variants. We could do King, which is King, short for King of the Hill. So game variant King, and then map reset. And we can see that we can test our King of the Hill stuff. And we can also do CTF. So we're gonna go here and then CTF, and then map reset. Now, see, this is, so you can see here that it's too close, so that's not going to work. So you may need to do some adjusting to get it to work, of course. So we're going to go to map reset here, and just put it on Slayer, and then, yeah, that's pretty much how that works. So yeah, that's how you make a level in CE, for pretty much from a basic standpoint. This is pretty much using the tutorial assets and whatnot. I hope I went mostly through what the tutorial level has. I mean, sure, this doesn't really closely resemble the tutorial level. I guess you can try to make it like that, but it takes a really long time to make these. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, give this a thumbs up. This helped you out pretty. If this helped you out pretty well, I hope it did. Leave a comment if you have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and end off this video as our final video here. I will make new tutorials on how to make vehicles and stuff and scenery objects. I still need to play around with them before I make a video, of course. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end off here. So take care, everyone.